Yo, 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 it's your girl Trap Sid.
And it's the kid with more flavor than Now and Later, your favorite kinfolk, Jay.
And today we have none other than our trainee of the night, our training day person that comes. They consistently show up, they consistently show out. I'm going to go ahead and pass her the mic and let her introduce herself and give us a little bit more information about her.
What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, my name is Truequeenpope. That's Truequeenpope to some who know me on IG. I'm honored to have this moment with Training Day. I've been coming for a while, and I finally got my time. So I'm just feeling real honored to be having this moment.
Well, I can't say we are definitely happy to have you. I feel like you've definitely earned this spot. Like you said, you consistently come every week. You show up, you show out, you do your thing, you bartend, you do pole dance class. I mean, damn, what don't you do? Like, damn, save me some money. So, first question that I have for you is just what made you get into the whole music industry, or what's the one thing that was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try and get into music. I'm gonna start rapping. I'm gonna do poetry, and just kind of tell us a little bit about your interest into the whole music business.
Like from when I was a kid, I always used to like be a writer. So everything starts with writing. And as I was, growing up, my parents were real religious, and I wasn't really very religious. And sometimes I felt, imprisoned by being raised in a home where my parents were very strict and, I say parent because I was raised with a single mother, but of course my father would come and interject at times. But with that being said, it kind of made me feel somewhat like a social misfit growing up. And so I would write to express myself, and that's where it started. And I would write in the form of poetry or just as a journal, and from there I just began to graduate into the business. It wasn't until I decided I wasn't going to work the typical 9 to 5. I drove school buses, so I would drive school buses and I would be like writing, like I want to add a light or something. I know that sounds unsafe, but I would like times like when I'm riding or I'm driving, that's when thought comes to be the best. I don't know if it's because the motion of the car or what, and so I would just write. And I was just like, what, I'm tired of the regular 9 to 5. That was another thing that kept me feeling imprisoned in my life. And so when I finally broke away from that, I began here with Israel the Poet doing sensual erotic expressions. And I toured from June of last year to October. And so now I'm slightly working my way back into the poetry. And, I feel like poetry is the basis. It's the dode of all music, whether it be R&B, rap, or whatever the case may be. And so last year, also with my love life being kind of turbulent, coming out of domestic violence, homelessness, and everything like that, overcoming those types of things, I created a single called Single Shit. And it was until I felt inspired by the Baby beat, the Baby with Offset, the Babysitter. And I was like, man, fuck it, I'm on my Single Shit. And so from there, Single Shit was born. And I was like, not trying to toot my own horn, but this sounds like a hot song. I think this is a good one to go ahead and put out to the people. So I just began to market it by CD first. And then from there, I met a friend of mine. His name is Son of Barber. He the one taught me how. I was looking for somebody to burn me CDs because, of course, it is. By that time, it was 2019. And it's like, I'm an 80s baby, not trying to give my age away or nothing, but I was like, F it, I want to push my CD, but I need somebody to burn me some CDs. And he was one of the first people that I met to help me burn my CDs, get my flyers up, and kind of like get a rookie in the game, as far as going into this whole music market in general. And then from there, I was like, let me go digital. And so now I'm releasing Single Shit, the album, or the EP this year. And I just want to keep going hard. Like, that's all I want to do.
Back to what you were saying about you feeling a little bit imprisoned with the way that your family kind of was raising you. When did you realize that you really had a passion for the music or for the poetry, and that was what your therapy was versus any other outlet?
The crazy thing about it is, although my parents were very religious, they both were DJs. Being that they had a congregation behind them, they were able to do parties and things like that. And so growing up, my mother would play stuff like Betty Wright and Special Ed and all these different old school groups and things like that. And so I became inspired just because I love music, period. I could never remember a time in my life when I just didn't love music. You know, Mary J. Blige, she's always been my favorite singer. She will always be my favorite singer. You know, I can remember a time we used to put word up, posters up, like on the wall and things like that. So it's like music always been something that I loved no matter what. So, I mean, I guess it's like alpha and omega. It's like really no time, no marked time to say when I loved music. I would just say that I knew it was something that I wanted to do, and being that I quit that 9 to 5, that was what gave me the freedom to go ahead and like get that honey off my wings and go ahead and blossom into the industry. And so I just decided to just keep going with it after single shit. I'm like, why stop here? I'm so creative. You know, I got a lot of major thoughts in my mind that I can push out. I have a lot of message. I have a lot of things that I've gone through that people can relate to. So just keep growing. I feel like the more you polish your craft, the better you get at it. And I also feel like don't box yourself. So that's why a lot of people ask me like, well, what do you love to do more? Do you like to sing? Do you like to rap? Do you like to buzz? I'm like, I love making money for one. For two, I love to you know, I just love to create. So if I make a song and I feel like I want to sing it, I'm going to sing it. If I want to sing it and rap it, I'm going to sing it and rap it. If I want to do it in a poetry form, that's how I'm going to do it.
So what is your motivation behind most of your songs? Or I guess the better question, not necessarily the motivation, but how do you get yourself into the songwriting or the poetry writing mode? Kind of get yourself prepared to say, okay, I'm going to write now. Or does it just come naturally for you, like, here, bam, verse, bam, hook, bam, poem? Like, how does that work?
Well, a saying that I came up with is that creativity is at its best when it's effortless. So I feel like most of my creativity come from just natural experiences, and most often when I feel like I'm most emotional or kind of maybe going through something, or I'm very passionate about a situation that I may be experiencing in my life. So overall, I say it's just experience and things that happen natural just through living, and just also going out and mingling and being amongst other artists and going to different events, you know, listening to other legends in the game. I get influence, you know, and I just keep pushing it from there. And then also to be unique. I just want to be unique. I want to bring a flair or some kind of mark to the world. So that's where my influence comes from.
So what would you say is one thing that you've learned about yourself as you've grown throughout this whole entire process, from the art of making poetry or writing your music? What's something that this whole process has taught you about yourself that you probably didn't realize at first, or you didn't know at first?
I think the most thing that I've learned about myself is that I'm resilient. No matter how much anxiety that I go through or that I experience, no matter how frustrated that I get, and I've been told like you're strong-minded or you're strong, and I have also learned that what everybody else's path is not my path. To be myself unapologetically and like not care about people's opinions so much. Whereas one point in time I felt like I allowed people's opinions to mold me a lot. And so that's the biggest thing. I just feel like I have learned that my passion brings resilience, and it overpowers other people's opinions of me and what I should be and how I should be moving.
So going back a little bit, you said that you like Mary J. Blige. Music-wise, who are some of your other influences, or who do you kind of, I guess, channel when you're, you know, like writing and stuff like that?
I like MC Light. I like Missy Elliott, for real, because she's so abstract and just so much of her own person. She doesn't care to be like anybody. She's not superficial. And this one gonna sound kind of crazy, but when I was growing up, I could never forget Herbie Hancock. Herbie Hancock was like, he just was somebody who amazed me. Like when I seen the video and I seen like the sounds and things that he could create, I just thought that was amazing. And I just seen that he was also another abstract individual. So I'm always looking for, like I said, how can I just stand out? And I feel like in today's time of music, it's a lot of the same sound. And so that's why those people like that are like most influential to me.
Is there anything through this whole process that you wish that you could have skipped over or could have avoided? Or was there any, are there any obstacles that you feel like were actually your defining moments? Like, what were those, and how did you get through those?
I mean, of course, I would say that I feel like I wish I could have skipped over my struggles, but that also would be a hypocritical statement, because my struggles, like being homeless, sleeping in a car in the dead of winter, escaping domestic violence through a relationship, those type of things like that, those issues are things I wish I could have skipped over, but at the same time, I'm glad that I experienced them, because by me experiencing those things, they fueled things in me that stimulated me to write. They fueled things in me that caused me to overcome my nervousness, you know, and things like that. Like, okay, this is what I'm gonna say. I call myself T. This is like my other person, but I'd be like, okay, T, like, it's time to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so those things taught me that I can overcome fear. So it's like, overcome the fear. And when things are fearful to me, it's almost like that extra push behind me that says, okay, go ahead and overcome that now, as opposed to like curling up or turtling up. I may turtle up for a while, but I'm always like this, like double dutch. Like, I'm going to get it here. Eventually, I'm going to get it here. Like, you know, so I always feel like when people sleep on me, it just give me motivation to, like, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't feel like, but it's like, I'm going to show it. I'm going to show y'all what I can do. You know, I'm going to prove to y'all, I'm going to prove them wrong, you know, type of attitude. So, yeah.
So with you being unapologetically you, 100% genuine, do you ever feel the pressure from other people to be something that you're not in order to get further in the music industry?
Yeah, I mean, especially as a woman, like, we're in a mode right now where it's like, we're in a society where it's like a very perverted society. People want to over sexualize you, for one thing. Also, because I am so multifaceted and I am really diverse in my creativity, I get a lot of people saying, well, you need to only do one thing and you only need to do this. And I started to kind of like surrender to my power that God gave me the ability to be and do more than one thing, and to be influential in that way. You know, I mean, if you look at most very successful people, they have more than one thing they do. They may produce, make beats, they may have a clothing line. So it's like, you kind of have to be in more than one place at a time. And sometimes if you box yourself, like I say, you can miss a blessing in an avenue where it's like God was telling you, I'm leaving that door open for you, but you're not taking it. So I just keep going with the flow, enjoying life, and I don't let nobody tell me what I should or shouldn't be, not even my family.
I know we're a little late in the interview for me to be saying this, but I really admire your mentor right now, because everything you saying, like, you really articulate, you know what I mean? You really know how to explain yourself, and your vision is definitely something that I wish that I would see more in the community, especially among Black women. So with what you were saying about your father not being there and how you grew up with the domestic violence in your relationship, what is something that you would say to young Black women that are in those type of relationships? And then also, what is advice that you would give to fathers who are raising young Black women that yours probably, that you wish could have, you know what I'm saying, he could have gave you, or that you would give him?
I would say that, for women who are experiencing any kind of domestic violence, don't be afraid to leave. You know, I know it can be hard. People who've never experienced that type of thing, they always say, well, you should do this or go this way or that way, but not understanding just how hard to escape that situation is. Not just making the decision to leave, but the actual footsteps toward leaving. You can leave, and if it means you taking the sacrifice and the decision to say, I'm going to struggle in order to get my life back, do that. And don't be afraid to do that. And also keep in mind, there's help for those type of situations, even outside of your family or even outside of your friends. There are programs, there's shelters, there's all types of things to help you. So don't ever feel like you're without hope. I've ran into so many women that have cried in the back of my car when I was Ubering, and if it wasn't for nothing, for just to let them cry on my shoulder or to just give them an encouraging word, there's someone there. So don't lose hope and don't give up. and stay determined to leave that situation. As far as fathers and any parent who's not in the home or they're negligent, you can't replace time with money. That's the only thing that's like the biggest thing I can say. Time you can't get back when it comes to raising your kids. Kids don't remember checks, they remember time spent, and they cherish that one-on-one time that you spend with them. They cherish you being there for those accomplishing moments. They cherish you being there for times when they feel like they have no one else. And especially as a father, remember, you're your daughter's first love, period. So be that first love, be that great example. That way she won't make mistakes that she shouldn't make dating because you were the proper example. And that's the best way I could put that in a nutshell.
That was good advice. So before we go, I just want to get you to go ahead and tell the people your social media handles, if you have any upcoming projects coming out, any up-and-coming shows, where they can find you, things of that nature.
My social media is Truequeenpope. That's TrueQueenPope, like the Pope, but I ain't Catholic. That's on Instagram, and that's also on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, stay with me. I continuously plan to progress in what I'm doing. Coming up this Friday, I have a performance at Vibrations. That will be on the 28th. And then on Saturday, I'll be performing erotic poetry with Israel the Poet, Sensual Erotic Expressions, Smith Corners Boulevard. If you check my Instagram, Truequeenpope, you'll be able to keep up with that for me. And I appreciate this time. I appreciate this moment. I'm so thankful. I'm so humble. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time today. That has been another interview with No Advisory. We're out. Bang.
To lay back, relax, and allow my mouth to give you this pleasure. Let my palate relish in the experience of your growth. I want to taste every measure. Smooth like R&B. My tongue vibes to your texture. Inhaling the scent of the skin on your groin in my space. And I ain't thought twice about breathing to therapy. But there's a non-conformist in me that just won't let me be. Because the only thing that I'm conforming to is anatomy. So I sat back and grabbed me a glass of wine and I contemplated things in my mind and I decided, fuck being a subtle feline. I'm gonna let this wildcat feel free.